guys, how you doing? It's Andy Elliott. All right, check this out. We're going to talk about video 5 now. All right, check this out. So I have something that's wrote at the top of your PDF right here. I want you to check out. So if you go into the materials box, you can obviously click these out, or you can always text me and I will email you a full PDF to the entire course. That way you can get it, print it off in advance and check it out, okay? And I know that you guys have my cell phone, but if you don't, it's 918-210-0254. Just in case you're in a different country, you've purchased it, we haven't met yet, okay? And you can always send me an email at andy@theelliottgroupnow.com. 2 L's, 2 T's, okay? I will send you the full PDF in case you don't have it, but I'm positive you probably have it by now. But it's under the materials box, or you can grab it here. Notice what I put at the top of this PDF right here. These are your notes. So I'm a very visual learner. So when I learn things, I love watching video. Video helps me out a ton. At the top of this, I put, what would you attempt to do if you knew you could not fail? I want you to understand this. Not fail. As we talk about negotiations, okay? One of the things that I am great at, and what I have learned over, and I wasn't always great at this, but I have learned over a long period of time, is that I believe I'm not going to fail. So I'm not afraid to go in on harder numbers. I'm not afraid to deliver bad news. I understand, as anybody that's great at negotiating and closing, they have 2 things that we're going to talk about in this video today. They're great with their words, and they're great with the way that they use their words. So we're going to get into that in this video, but I can say a word or a sentence, and I can say that same word and sentence 4 or 5 different ways, and it can have 4 or 5 different meanings. You see my hands right here? Watch this. If I point at you, how do you feel during a negotiation? If I open my hands like this during negotiation, you see open palms? Open palms means different. So guess what? The way that you use your language, the way that you use your words, and the way that you use your posture, your body language, is all very important. Now that we're going to be getting into some good closes, we're going to be getting into some better negotiations, I have to have you understand this. Knowing a close isn't enough. You guys want to make 6 figures a year? That's fine. 6 figures could be 100,000 or it could be 700,000. I want you to understand this. How you become great at anything is by repetition, is by drilling yourself, by rehearsing. It's by role playing. It is not simply by watching this video. You will have to practice this over and over and over again. It's my job to teach it to you, but it's your job to practice it so much that now you're the student, but you can become so good at this that you can turn into the teacher, okay? So as we move each level, I want you to elevate your life and your game to a whole new place. And I want you to start to understand, as I get into the closing words and the closing game and the way that the strategies and techniques that I use to close customers, the tips that I give you, none of it means anything if your hands aren't in the right posture, if the way you say your words aren't used the right way, okay? So let's start out. What would you attempt to do if you knew that you could not fail? That is something that I want you to keep on your heart at all times. You become deadly at this and you get your skill to the next level and you practice this over and over, you're going to do amazing things because you're going to believe that you can't fail. And when you believe that, that is something that is given to you that 99% of the salespeople in this world will never have. Okay? All right. What is attitude? This is important. Attitude is an inward feeling expressed by behavior. I want you to think about this. I'm going to read this again. Attitude is an inward feeling expressed by behavior. This is why an attitude can be seen without a single word being said. It's a behavior on the inside. This is the way that we start becoming great at closers right now, is by the inside behavior, not just by what we say, but how we feel. Because the power of persuasion is the way that we feel and we push it into someone else. So guess what? Who has to start out with the feeling before your customer can feel that way? You do. And if you don't ever acquire that, your customer will never acquire it. And you'll run around with all these sayings and closes and sentences at hand. And guess what? None of them will ever work because you don't understand what attitude is. This top part right here will change your life if you will read it over and over and over and print it out and literally tape it on your dash when you're driving to work. What is attitude? Attitude is an inward feeling expressed by behavior. That is why an attitude can be seen without a single word being said. Everyone notices the pouting of the negative salesman or the jutted jaw of the determined salesman who knows he's going to make it. Okay? A hardened attitude is a disease. Okay? It causes a closed mind and a dark future. When our attitude is positive and conducive to growth, the mind expands and the progress begins. A hardened attitude is a disease. You guys, you have two choices. You can have the fixed mindset, which says that, hey man, I know a lot, you know what I'm saying? I'm just here to pick up a couple things if I can. Or, hey, I'm completely open to resetting my mind, let it flow in, and I'm gonna take notes right now. I'm gonna be writing things down. I'm gonna be tearing this piece of paper up with a pen and paper, thinking about the holes that I have in my game and where I can increase my skill set. Not just listening and hoping that something sticks, but writing everything down and ensuring success. It's all up to you at this point, okay? So some of the things I'm gonna talk about right now are gonna be basically verbal and nonverbal. Okay, so you say, Andy, what is verbal and nonverbal? Well, it's pretty easy. Verbal is the word that's actually said, okay? And nonverbal would be the way that the word was said. Okay, so verbal would be basically, and if you go down here on this, I'm not going to read through these on each one, but it still goes through tone, pitch, volume, inflection, facial expression, okay? And I want you to read the definitions on each one of these. Posture, grooming, eye contact, gesture. These are the ways that you use your words when you are selling, and as you read the definitions, understand, drop into the bottom here, which I'm going to go into tonality examples, which basically talk about like, I'm going to give you a sentence and we're going to say it like 3 or 4 different ways. And I want you to take this sentence. I chose one here. The sentence we're going to be using here will say, I didn't say that I kicked your dog. Okay? And I want you to think about this. You're like, Andy, this is silly. No, it's not silly. I want you to see how you can say something and it can be used 10 different ways. I didn't say that I kicked your dog. You want to know what being a closer is? Try it here. Say this 3 or 4 different ways. Watch this. Here I go. I didn't say that I kicked your dog. See my hands? I'm pointing at me. Watch this. Let me now point at you and I say, I didn't say that I kicked your dog. Do you see the difference? Did my voice move? No. Watch this. I didn't say that I kicked your dog. Is that offensive? No. Watch this. Watch my hand. I didn't say that I kicked your dog. See this hand? How do you feel on the differences? I want you to understand that when you are a person that's in charge of closing a deal, these are your weapons right here, okay? Open palms, pointing in, pointing out, pointing at yourself, shifting. If I'm talking about guys, watch this. Guys, we want to move away from that. Watch this. Guys, we want to move away from that. Guess what? You can physically see me pushing that away, and therefore you push it out of the way. This is how closing and negotiating is done. The tactics and strategies and techniques don't matter with anything. If you can't get verbal, nonverbal, and then tonality and pointing versus open palms and hand gestures. I hope this is starting to kick in with you. I told you, elite negotiations and closing and going to the next level isn't me teaching you a video on YouTube. I've never taught this, but isn't me teaching you a close like the payment's too high and you say this. It's me showing you all the little things that actually go into, listen, if I collected 700 grand a year selling cars, I'm gonna tell you, it wasn't because I just blurted something out and hoped for a result. I ensured the result, okay? And what would I attempt to do if I knew I could not fail? I knew that every single time I went in, I was going to close that customer. I was that confident, I carried bulletproof confidence. And by the way, let me explain this to you. Is a closer somebody that has the magic technique, the special words that he uses to close? Yes. But what is a closer really? It's a guy who is incredible at presenting. The person that can present something the best is normally the best closer in the dealership. You have to be able to have impelling and mind-blowing presentations, okay? It takes your words. We're gonna gather the right words during this course. Secondly, it takes the way that we use our words, the tonality, the times that we bring it up and the times that we bring it back down, the times when we push it away and the times that we just decide to point at ourselves or come at the customer. It doesn't matter the times that we decide to keep our hands like this and the times we decide to turn them over. All of those things allow your customer's brain and mind to digest what's happening. The beautiful thing is words can be here, but they can also be seen by what it is you're doing with your body while you're saying them. I'm gonna tell you, this stuff you're learning right now, it's stuff that no one else will ever teach you in your life. And if you pass by it and you don't take notice to it, you will never make more than that 100 grand, 150 grand, 200 grand max. You wanna make 500 grand a year? Listen to every word that I'm saying. And then when we start getting into the strategies, the actually true word tracks in the future videos, and you match this with that, man, you're gonna be deadly. It's gonna be unbelievable. So with that being said, what's the example? I didn't say that I kicked your dog. Watch this. We'll do 3 or 4 different ways. I didn't say that I kicked your dog. Watch this. I did not say that I kicked your dog. I didn't say I kicked your dog. Watch this. I didn't say I kicked your dog. You see how the words never changed? But guess what? As I said each one of those 3 or 4 ways, each way made you feel a different way. Some of them were confrontive. Some of them were combative, right? But think about it. One of the ways that I said it was non-confrontational. There was no friction, right? I still got my point across. I said the same thing. How many times does a salesman say the right thing, but he says it the wrong way with the wrong tonality? And he has the wrong body language when he says it. Too many times. And what that causes is either one, for the deal to be negotiated down because of his stance, not his words. Words are deadly, but the way he uses his words are very important. And then secondly, believability. Maybe the way that he didn't believe in what he said, or maybe the way that he said it, he had the wrong tone, so it caused friction. When it causes friction, it takes a warm customer to a cold customer. And we don't want cold customers. So, talking about tonality. Look, there are 2 motivating factors that influence people to change their behaviors. 2 motivating factors that cause people to want to change their behavior. Change your behavior, change your life. Number 1, it's fear of failure. Fear of failure is this: the fear of loss and want for gain, okay? Or the second would be being uncomfortable. And you're gonna have to be uncomfortable until it becomes culture, which means this: if I'm uncomfortable right now and I'm learning and going through this video and I'm like, man, okay, all this stuff that I'm teaching you, I was once the student and was taught it. And now I'm the teacher and I'm teaching it to you. And I want you to learn it and know it so well that you can teach it to others. But I'm gonna share this with you, okay? It's not gonna be normal and it will be uncomfortable until you practice it over and over and over again. It could take you a month to get this down. But is it worth the month to change the rest of your life? Absolutely. Be willing to put the work in, be willing to pay the price in advance, and be willing to see yourself an investment. And obviously you've already invested or you wouldn't be seeing this. But remember that just because the money's spent doesn't mean that the skill comes into place. You now have to earn the skill. I'm just teaching it to you, okay? So with that being said, those are the 2 motivating factors. I want to talk about some things as far as like training, caring, planning ahead. Those are some things that you need to be doing right now. You have to have massive care because guess what? If you don't care about this, it isn't going to work. Also training, obviously, drill, rehearse, practice, role play, video record yourself, all of the above. Guys, we all have video now. Everybody needs to be video recording themselves just for themselves. And guess what? Never watch the video right after you record yourself. Give yourself at least an hour and then go back and watch the video. and then it will seem like a new video you're watching, and you'll actually be able to see where you're at, okay? Anytime I record something, I never watch it right away. I give myself an hour, let my mind clear, and then I watch it, okay? Because sometimes when you watch it too fast, you're too hard on yourself, okay? Allow yourself to step away, and then go back and look at yourself. But you guys can record yourself at home, and then see how far that you're scaling and you're growing. Okay, leaders think about solutions, followers think about the problems. When you're in the middle of a negotiation, okay, and you're working a deal, okay, what happens when a problem arises? Are you going to attach to the problem, or are you going to attach to the solution? So many people attach to the problem, and what happens when you attach to the problem when a problem arises? The customer sees a more magnified problem because they've witnessed you attaching to it, which means, secondly, you agree that there's a problem. Or if a problem arises, I don't attach to the problem, I attach to the solution. And if I attach to the solution, the customer forgets about the problem and they start going towards the solution because I lead them there. Look, I'm holding the spotlight, but my customers are in the spotlight. Does that make sense? Who controls the spotlight? Me. Who's in the spotlight? My customers. I control, they're in the spotlight. I find the solution, I put the spotlight on it, they gravitate towards it. When a problem comes up, do not focus on the problem. Focus on the solution. Leaders focus on the solution, okay? Do not ever veer towards the problem. I want you to think about some of these things. I'm going to talk about one last little deal. You always have to be 10 steps ahead of your customers at all times. So what does that mean? That means this. I'm going to read off a couple things that I want you to think about. And then we're going to end this video, okay? I want you to think about these last things. People are motivated by different things. No negotiation is ever the same. Your customers are motivated by different things. You have to listen, and you have to figure out what motivates your customer. That is very important to you. Most people don't think about what motivates their customers. Most salespeople think about what motivates them. And that's why at the end, they end up negotiating down or missing the sale. And guess what? It wasn't about you, bro. It was about the customer the whole time. What motivates your customer, okay? People are motivated by different things. Every negotiation is different. Your customers are thinking about different stuff. This stuff is very valuable. I don't care what it is. Whatever it is that they're thinking about, that is valuable stuff to you, okay? You have to surface it. And then, if you can surface this valuable information that most salespeople never think about, you will have massive power over the negotiation. Just think about how all these things are starting to tie in. Think about the old way that you used to think and the new way that you're starting to think. Okay? Everyone has something going on in their head. Everyone. Okay? You need to know what that is. And those things would be like, I'm going to give you some examples, where that they feel the deal is going, okay? Where that they feel that their life is going, okay? Because that's important. That's how they feel about themselves, okay? What they're hoping for, okay? And maybe what their future expectations may be. If you go back through these again and you reread them, you'll start to see and understand that becoming an elite master closer, one of the best negotiators in the world, is not about a simple close. It's not something you blurt out when an objection arises. Yes. The words are important. But now that we've chosen the right words, and in the future videos when we start learning the right words to say, if you don't match them with your hands, your body language, and all of these things, and the tonality of your voice, will that close be full force and will it be used? You watch me do a video, right? And I show you a close. And you're like, man, that close is great, dude. I'm going to go use that close. And then you try it on your first customer and it doesn't work. Look, more than likely, even if you nailed the words, your body language probably wasn't right on tune. And on top of that, your tonality in your voice probably didn't have enough in it that it impacted them. And if it didn't impact them, it didn't force them to want to change their behavior. So guess what? Go back to the drawing board. Do it again. What I say is crucial. The way that I say it could be even more important. And then the body language that you see me have while I'm doing it, that may even be more important. Those are the three-headed dragon. okay? Knowing the right words to say, and then when you say the right word, right? Knowing the tonality to use with the word, and then lastly, the body language to follow those words up with. If you can follow those 3 things, you will be unstoppable. Hey guys, hope this helped you guys out a bunch. I'll see you in video 6, okay? You guys have a great day.